We've walked through sunshine, we stood in rain. We've danced in joy and we've wept through pain. Through every valley, through every climb, a love eternal stands the test of time. Faith, fun, and forever love, built on grace and from above. There's storms that shake through skies that clear. His hand has held us year by year.
Hey y'all, hey, we're back again. 2.0. We didn't realize the music was playing and y'all couldn't hear us.
Wow. and what's so jacked up is I was dropping mad knowledge. You couldn't even hear it.
So he says.
I mean, I'm telling you, that was like save the world kind of stuff.
Guess what? It'll be okay.
Hopefully.
All right, so we're going to have some more fun.
Wow. All right, so we back again, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's not Monday. I know it's not noon. Matter of fact, I know it's not 30 minutes ago. But here we go.
Here we are.
Right. So we're going to knock this one out the park, though. So we want to welcome y'all again to Marriage Encounters with Bill and Michelle Van. We were talking about connections on the first couple weeks of February.
Last week we talked about connections.
We were talking about connections,
week number 2.
Week number 2, yeah. So after we deal with connections, we need to talk about how committed are you, right? Because I think you can be in the same house but not connected. You can be actually in the same room and not connected. These devices have a lot to do with that. And every now and then, you just need to learn how to...
I don't think so, sir.
Put the
phone down.
Oh my God, can you get off your phone?
All right, so we talked about connection last week. Today we're going to talk about care. Do you care? Okay? Because often we can be in our own world, doing our own thing, being in our own frame of mind, and we do not put forth the care that we need to put forth. Connection might get your attention, but care is what keeps love steady and flowing. If I show you that I care, if I am moving in a space of care, then you are more likely to want to be in the space with me. Let's be honest. Lots of couples are doing the task. We are paying the bills, we're running the schedule, we're handling the responsibilities. We maybe have some time that we put aside to get together every now and then. But care isn't just about what you do. It's about how you make the other person feel. Because a lot of times we equate love, in quotes, we equate love to what we do. I provide you a house, I provide you with this, I give you that. And we say that that's love, which, is questionable. It's a whole nother show. But do I feel, do I see, do I experience care from my spouse?
Well, that just depends because and I think it depends on what environment a person was raised in.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you were raised old school, then men showed care by being a provider and making sure that things were taken care of, making sure you didn't wake up in the dock. Right?
That's always a good thing.
Right. So if you saw that model then growing up, then that's what your assumption is how love and care should be. And that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means might not be the language that your spouse speaks, right? And if it's not the language that they speak, then you need to learn another language, bro.
Yeah, I think that's when we start to think about the language. We saw the whole halftime show, and people were all in. A 15-minute show got the world in such an upheaval about language. When we don't all speak the same language. But we do not understand that music is universal in the sense that No, you may not have understood what he was saying, but you did understand the scenery that was happening. And the more you looked at it and the more you watched it, the more that began to unfold. And so I think sometimes we have to look at, we may not always understand exactly what our spouse is saying because we may not understand the contextual, go back to what you just said. If you were raised in a situation where your father was a provider and not necessarily touchy-feely hug, say I love you, you may not understand that. So when somebody brings that to you, you're like, what in the whole entire world is that? It sounds like a foreign language.
Well, and let me build on that. Even with the game and the halftime show and all that stuff. So you didn't get the language. So a lot of people didn't get it right away, but here's the difference between the two. I had the opportunity to go back and rewatch it. And the second time I could pick up on some things that I didn't see the first time. Well, because the first time I'm overwhelmed with the fact that, man, they ain't speaking English.
Right.
Okay. But then when you can sit back and watch it again or the second time or whatever, or see clips of it, then you begin to grasp and get understanding. But here's the challenge with that, because we could rewind that tape, but you're living your marriage live and in living color.
There's no replays.
There's no replays. There's no do-overs. There's no time to go back and rewind the tape and listen all over again. So that means that we have to be in a place and a position where we're understood to the best of our ability from the jump.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't have that opportunity. So because you can be faithful and still feel unseen, you can be committed and still feel unsupported. And that's why care is a big thing in marriage. So I think one of the quickest ways that your care breaks down is through assumptions. And we often place our assumptions on somebody else. Isn't it amazing that you can ask the question, answer the question, and be confident in the answer all in your head?
That part. And
you never even ask your spouse.
Right.
You said what you needed to say or asked what you needed to ask. You responded. And here's a crazy thing. You respond in their voice, in your head. And you answer stuff that in your own mind that the question hasn't even been asked. And so what happens is you make the assumption that you thought your spouse knew when in reality they didn't, because you never really asked the question the way it needed to be asked.
Ooh, that's good.
Right?
That's good.
I'm gonna take up an offering after that one. That one was
that was good.
All right. So we make all of these assumptions. We assume that you knew. I assume that you were fine. Well, you are fine.
But I think that it comes back to when we really start to think about assumptions. We assume sometimes that our spouse, especially in our early years, we assume that our spouse was raised like we were.
True.
So there's things that we look at and we expect them to just be able to respond in a certain way because our family did it that way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they were raised that way. Right. Or they have that same value system.
Right. And because that value system is uniquely yours or uniquely your family's, you make the assumption that is right.
Yeah.
And that everybody should adjust the parameters of how they operate and think to what you believe. And that, unfortunately, is not accurate. So when you begin to care for somebody, you have to begin to allow them to express how they feel, how they think, and then you build the dynamics of this care package together, right? And there's just certain questions that you can ask a person.
Package.
Yeah, care package. You know when
you was young, you used to get those.
You get a care package. When you went off to college, you got a care package.
Yeah.
So, but I ask them, you got to have those conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you need right now? Sometimes it's just, what can I do? How can I help you? I know for you, you've gotten better about asking me that. sometimes I can be doing 1,000 things at one time, and you're good. You've become better about saying, "Hey, what can I do to take some of that off? What can I do to help you? Are there things that I can do?" Sometimes you can't, but is there something that I can do? Moving the boxes, or setting up the tables, or whatever. What can I do to help? And so I think sometimes just being able to move into that space of, how can I help? What do you need right now? What do you need me to support you in a way, or do you just need me to pray for you?
Or you just need me to leave you alone.
True. Do you need me to finance it? Because baby.
Strike that from the record, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you need me to finance it? Come on now.
Strike that from the record.
Ask. Sometimes, when we think about what our spouses need, and I think about just, the 5 love languages, it changes over time. Yeah. As you grow, as you mature, as you get to a certain age, my birthday's this week. It's my birthday week. So, when you're a person of a certain age, over a certain age, you start to think about things a little bit differently.
Well, I think you start to think about quality time, because, I said this earlier. If you are over the age of 50 or 55, you probably just in the average span of life have more life behind you than you have in front of you. And as that happens, you start to really want to measure the moments, and the moments become very important. And I often tell my wife that, hey, listen, I just need you to be with me in this moment. This moment matters. And that doesn't mean it's something real big or something real small. It just might be an average kind of day. But this moment matters. And when you begin to put the moments together, you begin to build a lifetime. So do you care enough to be in the moment for your spouse at that particular time and season in their life?
And when we think about that, so when we think about different seasons, we need different seasonings for that particular season. So we think about, what might have been great in your 20s may not be so great in your 50s, or may not necessarily be what you need. We don't necessarily need to go fast. Sometimes we go out on your motorcycle. Well, the level of crazy that you had in your 20s is not the same level of crazy that we have in 50s, 60s, because there's just a knowing in the back of your mind that says, if I fall now, my ability to recover is not like it was in my 20s. Right.
It's going to be problematic.
So I think we have to really think about that. What does a person need when we're thinking about their care, and how do we care for them? What do they need? And again, it may have changed over time. What one person needs, the other person may not need. Do you need words of affirmation? Do you need gifts? What do you need in this season that will make you? I didn't ask for anything for my birthday. Whatever.
I just felt that in my spirit.
In your shanana.
I felt it in my spirit.
I see. But I didn't really ask for anything. There's not really something that I just have to have. And so in doing that, but I know that there are seasons in my life when I would have been like, bro, I want this and 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 this. So how do we make sure that we're doing that, and we're giving the person what they need?
And one of the ways that you make sure that you're giving the person what you need is you have communication. They are able to express what they need at this particular time, right? And because you're asking them what they need, you are receptive to hearing what they say, and then taking that information and putting it into action. Because if I tell you what I need and nothing happens, then over a period of time, I'm like, well, what's the point in telling you? Ain't nothing changing, right? True. So, but you have to be very intentional because sometimes you feel like that you answered the call of duty, and in reality, you ain't even heard the horn blow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you got to be intentional. How do you do it? Sometimes you got to ask again. Okay, is this what you want me to do? Is this what we need to do? How do you want me to get this done, or whatever? All that's doing is showing a level of care that I'm asking you how you want us to accomplish this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That way, that spouse knows that you are all in, not just on the surface, but you are all in, because a lot of times, we communicate, but we don't communicate with our face. And so my assumption is, if I'm talking, and hey, this is a big one for me. If I'm having a conversation and you are doing this, then I'm gonna pretty much be done, because as far as I'm concerned, you ain't paying attention. And I don't just mean that for my spouse. I mean just in general. I mean, I am not going to hold a conversation with you and the phone and 50 other people. I'm not doing that, right? So you can put your phone down, or we can start this again some other time.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to be in, I'm going to be in. If I'm going to be engaged, I'm going to be engaged, and you will know that I'm engaged, right? Why? Because I think that that's showing a level of care.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Care doesn't usually show up though in big moments. It shows up in small things, daily grind. It shows up in checking in. It shows up in noticing your tone quality. How are you speaking? And let me add to that, because you speak with your lips, but you yell with your face.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
You speak with your lips, but you yell with your face. So even though you're telling me one thing, your face is like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So you need to be careful about that. So you need to notice the tone of what you're speaking, and also your expression, your body language.
Yeah.
People can pick up on that, right? It shows up in how you offer help, how you offer support. It shows up in making space.
Even if you do
space.
offer help, because sometimes people will just be sitting there watching you struggle.
Yeah, you're like, bruh,
do you not see this?
I mean, you don't see me struggling with this? Come on now, right? Or even a step further, you'll be trying to accomplish something, and like you say, they see that you're challenged with, and they just sit back. One thing that irritates me the more, if I'm backing my truck up to hook up to the trailer, and you standing behind me, watching it, and you don't tell me
to move
go
over to the right
left
or to
the right, and I get back there and I'm this far off, and I'm like, dude, what was you doing back there? Oh, I didn't know you needed my help. Well, why did I have you back there in the first place? Oh my goodness, that bugs the heck out of me. Are you kidding me? Tell me I need to go left or right or something, or come closer, right? Don't leave me hanging. It's the same way sometimes in your relationship. Quit leaving your spouse hanging. They're trying to get there. They're trying to get to the place that you want them to be, but ain't no coaching going on.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to back up.
We're mad because we're making assumptions that they can see, but there's no way to see.
No, I'm in a blind spot, right? And so help me along the way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So making the space, offering help, all of these things are ways that you show care and concern.
Well, I think making space is one of the things that we really have to look at, because how do I make space for my spouse to share their ideas, to share their frustrations, to share their, we do a pretty good job of coming in and having the conversations of, like when we're praying in the morning, if there's something going on, something big or whatever, we'll pray about it, and then we'll kind of like check in with each other to see, like, hey, how did that go? What went on? But how do we make space for, our spouse to be able to vent, to be able to share, to be able to process? Because, if we don't give them that space intentionally at home, they will find that space somewhere out there in the big wide world, and they're talking to somebody that's not who they're supposed to be talking to. Right.
They're talking to somebody trying to spit game. Let's just call it like most of the time. All right. But I think that in allowing a person to vent, and you got to have operating parameters. You have operating procedures and parameters for everything. Your operating parameters ought to be that if you are frustrated right now and you're coming home, and you ought to tell your spouse, hey, right now I'm still a little frustrated. All right.
Yeah.
So give me a little bit of space. We're going to talk, but I need a little bit of space to wind myself back down.
Yeah. So it goes back to that tone that you were talking about. You know, like stuff was happening out there and I bring it into the home. And so I'm yelling at you and I'm going off, and it's really don't have squat to do with you.
Right. It really has to do with whatever happened on the outside. So, but here's the key: when that spouse says, hey, listen, right now I just need to defrag for a little while. Okay. Yeah. Grant them that space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, back off. I don't know, watch some TV, play a game, or do something, but grant them that space, but then be committed and caring enough for one another to recognize that I'm gonna give you some space, but then we're gonna come back together.
Yeah, and we do still have to have this conversation. So when we think about care says that I see you, I notice you, I am, you matter to me. What is on your heart? What is, what you're doing, how you're feeling? That all matters to me. And so I'm going to do whatever I need to do in order to make sure that we can come together and that we can be on the same page and that we are moving in the same direction. So when we think about that, let's think about our love work for this week. Remember that when we're talking about love work conversations, we're not talking about things that we don't need to defend ourselves. We don't need to fix it. It really is just about having conversations so that we know how to get on a more intentional road and how to be to meet each other where we are. So go ahead.
Well, and that's one thing I want to add to that, because you said we don't need to defend, we don't need to fix. And oftentimes for me, I mean, if you're having a conversation with me, then I'm, in my mind, unless you let me off the hook, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I need to resolve this for you? Because I'm a fixer kind of person, okay? And so sometimes my wife just has to say, I don't need you to fix this. I just need you to listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't tell me that, then I'm going to be looking for a way to solve this problem.
And if we're honest, most of us have the answers inside of us. We need that external processing. I mean, as women, we need to have a lot of words.
Say that again. I hear you. Could you repeat that, please?
So, as women, we have lots of words because we need it. It's okay. We understand that. I mean, statistically, we have lots of words. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of yappy men, but there's just a process in which sometimes we have to be able to get it out, get it in the air. We hear it, and then we can solve our own problem.
So then you need to let your spouse off the hook and tell them this is not an answer. This is not a Q&A session.
Yeah, I'm not looking for you to solve this problem, to come up with the matrix.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Right. I need a sounding board. But remember, and it's interesting because, people say that oftentimes, I need a sounding board, right? Okay, but a sounding board technically doesn't speak.
True.
It's a sounding board.
It's supposed to bounce. It's supposed to bounce off.
It's not supposed to speak.
Yeah, and I think as a parent of adult children, I think I've come to that place. Like, when the kids are saying, "Oh, X, Y, or Z." Okay, so are you looking for a mom? Are you looking for spiritual advice? Are you looking for the coach? Who do you need me? What role do you need me to be in so that we don't have a conflict? Because I can go into parenting mode and I'll be parenting, and you as an adult might not want me to be parenting.
Yeah. I need you to back up out my business.
That part. All right. So, love work for this week. We're going to ask how I feel most cared for. So, we're going to ask our spouse, how do you feel most cared for? What are the things that I can do to make you feel most cared for? When we start to think about what is a way that I have missed caring for you lately?
Mm.
So is there something that, you know, you needed care for? I was too busy, or I was doing this, or I was trying to fix it, and you just needed me to do X, Y, Z. And so having that conversation. And then what is one small thing that we could do, that I could do for you this week, that would help you feel more supported?
Mm.
So we're looking at, how do I help them feel more supported? How did I miss something that would have made you feel cared for? And what is, you know, what'll make you feel the most cared for this week?
All three of those,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm making a list. I'm checking it twice.
He is not Santa.
I know, but these are the things that I'm naughty.
Nice.
And these are the things that are nice.
Oh,
I'm just
Lord.
messing with you. All right. But hey, how do you feel cared for? 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your cares on him because he cares for you. And I use that earlier, I explained that earlier, that in ancient times, there were two ways of fishing, two methods of fishing. One, you could stand on the beach, throw the net out, and draw it back in. But if you were more of a commercial fisherman, normally it was two boats. Now, we're not talking ships, we're talking dinghies that would go out and they would have one big net. They would make a circle, semicircle, and then they would draw the net back to shore through rowing of the boats. And so when he says cast, yep. So when he said cast all your cares, when they cast the net out, they're not fishing for anything particular. They're fishing for fish, right?
Yeah, but you could get anything in a.
But
in
you
a,
could get
in a
anything,
net.
right? So when he says cast all your cares, he's not saying that you need to pick and choose. Throw them all out there.
That's good.
And the reason why you do is because you have confidence that he cares for you. So I can throw my cares out there because I know God cares for me. So when your spouse expresses the cares of their life, what's laying on their shoulder, what's resting on their brow, what's sitting in their heart or in their mind, and they cast that on you, are you in a posture and or position to show them care in an expression that they feel?
Yeah, that makes their love meter go up.
Right.
Fills their bucket.
Right. And we like full love meters.
Yeah.
But are you showing it in a way that meets their expression of what care means to them? Because if I care for my spouse, then that means sometimes I got to take back from myself and be all in for them. Because, we say this all the time. Marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is 100 one day, or 98 one day, and you at 2%, 2%, or 7%, and you at 93% or whatever. But the sum total has to be 100.
Yeah.
But it's irrelevant who's carrying the heavier weight
that
in this
day.
particular season or that day.
Yeah.
Right. So God models care, and he invites us to reflect that level of care and concern in our relationship, particularly with your happily ever after.
So as we're talking about connecting and caring, next week we're going to talk about commit. So we're connect, care, commit. We are going to stay emotionally present. We're not pulling away. We're not, being on our devices. I know it's hard, but how do we stay in there? How do we connect and commit and care for our spouses in a way that lets them know, hey, there is nobody else for me. You don't even need to worry about me looking at nobody else. You don't need to be worried about, me talking to nobody else because you stuck with me like Chuck.
I'm all in, right?
All in.
All in. So strong marriages, ladies and gentlemen, don't just connect, but they are consistently, but they're consistently looking for ways to connect and reconnect. And one of the ways that you reconnect consistently is by showing your spouse that you care above and beyond what you say, but in your actions, in your words, and in your deeds. I care for you. And here is the expression of how much I care for you.
Oh, so so we're going to be expressing that all week?
We thank God for those of you that have joined us this evening. But there should be an expression attached with what you say, and care should be more than just a word. It ought to be something that you show in a way that your spouse knows that you care, which means you got to come out from yourself and do it in a way that meets their need.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're at the end of this journey again.
Yes.
Time number 2. But as we always say, keep building your relationship with faith,
fun,
and forever love. And y'all know how we get down.
Style.
We do it doggy style.
Y'all have a good week.
Have a great week.
Hit me up. It's Valentine's Day this weekend. Make sure that you love on your Valentine. Make sure that you give them what they want, not just what you want. It's together. We're doing this together. Make sure you see them. Make sure you hear them. Make sure that they know that they are being seen and that they're being loved by you. Have an amazing weekend. We will see you.
We holla.